So we know it's been a while since you've heard our mystical, magical, dare I say, sexy voices on the internet.
It's been a while.
That doesn't help with the sexy. Eric.
Okay, I tried.
But we're back in the studio, and today, this episode is going to be a special episode. I feel like we're going to talk about some of the most terrifying things that we've ever talked about.
Oh my gosh, Becky.
It is real life. And we're going to talk about the last 7 months since anything's been heard. If you follow us on social media, YouTube, whatever, you may have seen there's been some updates. We're coming back. But yeah, tonight we're just going to talk about what happened. And then we've got a couple of little catch-up stories of strange and unusual things that have happened between the last time we got to talk with our listeners. And so that is tonight on Nightmares on the Lost Highway.
We are not dead, but in the immortal words of Monty Python, we're just nearly dead.
Or what's the other quote? Reports of my demise have been greatly exaggerated.
And contrary to Bill's post, while I was running from Sasquatch on the East Coast and scuba diving, looking for megalodons, the shark did finally spit me up.
From a child born into this world, we are taught what to believe. Closed-minded we become, fearful to be deceived. Still we desire to know what lies beyond that locked door. The art of the storyteller, conjuring tales of legend and lore. History hidden, lost knowledge, things forgotten and the unknown. These are the things that direct us and will set the tone. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Nightmares on the Lost Highway.
So, like we said,
Wow.
like some folks have heard, there's been some conversation. I think the last episode was the middle of December, and then you headed off to visit family.
You dropped a couple greatest hits, I think.
I think I did one, but yeah, I didn't do much. And even at the beginning of that one, that was the kind of jokey, like, I think Eric got abducted by aliens or whatever I said.
Yeah.
I don't even remember anymore.
And at that point, really nothing, I'll use the word tragic, had occurred yet.
The plan was for us to come back and start doing this. I think it was March. I think we were looking at taking a couple of months because you were going to be out of state.
Yep.
And to be fair, if we still have dedicated listeners, and one of those dedicated listeners got very upset at my son for not teaching us how to do a podcast when we're in different states.
Touche.
Again, my son is a computer major. I was a computer major. There are ways to do this, but we thought we would take a break. We've taken breaks before. Things would come back. We'd get back together, and we'd get back to normal. As a matter of fact, in March, we got together and talked about, hey, this is what we're going to do.
And once we got back from the coast and everything, and let me back up for those of you who didn't know, one of the reasons why I decided to kind of take a little bit of a break, and we went out to the coast of Virginia, was grandbaby number 3 was being born, and there was some health concerns with our daughter Shannon as well as baby Maverick. Luckily, everybody did great, healthy, bouncing baby boy. But we needed to be there to help out our daughter and her family during that time frame, and this was kind of pushed to the back burner, just be straight up honest.
And again, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we took a break, and we're not the only podcast that takes breaks.
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't begrudging anything. You need to be with family. And like you said, there was some stuff going on. And absolutely, like we had planned to take a break. We'd actually planned, I think, to record a couple more episodes, and then I can't remember. I think somebody got sick or something.
Something happened, and we didn't, because, we were going to have some more in the bank that we could use.
We were going to make it through the end of the year, and then we were going to have a message on the last episode to explain, like, hey, we're going to take this little break because, and again, I think one of us got sick or something happened, and we didn't get together.
It's been so long, I don't even remember.
While Eric was out of state, my wife was involved in a car accident.
Yes.
Which totaled her car. I had to take a couple of days off of work to help her, and she luckily wasn't seriously injured. I don't think anybody was seriously injured. I don't believe the other parties were seriously injured. They were in a much hardier vehicle than my wife was, but she was beat up, and we had to deal with insurance. And
sure, she was feeling it from being bruised, and anytime you're in an accident, it doesn't matter what the damage to the vehicle is, whiplash and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, she was sore, and we had to get a new car, and we had to do all that. And there was some other drama that I'm not going to get into here, but my holiday was my Christmas. I remember almost my entire family at the Christmas table, the dinner table Christmas night. And at one point in time, each of us had been in tears about the way just that part of the year had been going. And that was prior to the accident even. There were things that happened in December. I went through some health issues and maybe, I can't remember, but I had to go see a specialist. I'm on medication now, which seems to be helping. But I mean, there was a lot going on, even just at the end of when we were like, okay, we're going to take this little break.
We thought 2024 was pretty rough, but boy, buckle up for 2025.
Yeah, we moved into 25. Then, like we said, my wife had that accident. And then when Eric got back into town, we met up and we talked about the future of what we were going to do. We absolutely wanted to continue recording.
Yep, absolutely.
And then,
I think we were maybe even going to record like the following week or something.
I think we hadn't committed to a date, but it was like, hey, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get together.
Let's make this happen.
And then, and I'll let Eric, however much he's comfortable sharing.
Well, I think most of our listeners at least know that, both Bill and I, we're pretty average working Joes. I mean, for the most part, at least to some degree. I mean, I have an eBay business where I buy and sell stuff. And obviously being away for 3.5 months did kind of, hit that a little bit.
Yeah.
So we had physical, we had mental, and a little bit of financial. So we come back, we're burning the candle at both ends. Shortly after we get back, my wife Sarah's mother falls and messes up her shoulder and is needing basically someone to stay with her nonstop. She's got her arm in a sling, 80 years old, not able to do obviously a lot around the house. So nieces and stuff, thank goodness all stepped in as we're still trying to burn the candle at both ends, trying to play catch up. We get a phone call one night from my niece, Amanda, who is up there staying and says, well, grandma's being jug-headed. Blood pressure, blood sugar issues. I think she needs to go to the hospital, but can you guys come up here and try to, have the come to Jesus talk with her and get her to go? So that was a Sunday evening, I believe in April. I'm not even sure. There's a lot of it's foggy.
Well, there's a lot happened between.
So we go up to assist my mother-in-law. And while we were there, by the way, it was late. It was 10:30 at night. We'd had a great day. Sarah and I had done some things, felt great, didn't have any health issues. But while we're there assisting her, I start getting like really dizzy and lightheaded. And this is weird, but the best way I can describe it, it felt like my body was being dipped in kind of a warm honey. And so
as nice as that might sound, it would be alarming.
Yes. It was like something ain't right. Something's not right. So Sarah had come out of her mom's bedroom, and I stood up. I was out in the living room, just kind of waiting, giving the ladies some privacy back there. And I told her, I said, "Man, hon," I said, I don't feel good. And she goes, "Well, let's go out on the front porch, get you some fresh air." And again, 10:30 at night. At that time, it was still pretty cool. Barely made it out the door. I felt like I was as drunk as I had ever been in my younger years. I mean, and I hadn't had a drop. She goes, "Well, let's sit down." So I sat down in a chair, and that's kind of the last I remember, for fragments at best after that. Apparently, I came out of the chair. My niece was there, Amanda, my wife, Sarah. They're not even sure how I got out of the chair, whether I fell out or tried to stand up or whatever. My wife and my niece actually saved my life yet again. And we talked about on a podcast, one of my other near-death experiences. Well, I've had 2 now. But apparently, I went full-blown exorcism, upchucked blood all over the porch. In my mind, I'm unconscious. I don't know what's going on. But when I wake up in my mind, my wife is next to me, slapping the crap out of me. And I will say this very affectionately. I woke up, I started opening my eyes. I could see that she'd been crying, and she was smacking the crap out of me. "Don't you leave me, don't you leave me, don't you leave me." It's kind of a dazed, like under drugs or something, anesthesia type feeling when I woke up. And finally it clicked on me, my wife is still beating me as I'm laying here. So finally I'm like, "I'm not going anywhere, woman, quit hitting me." So she kind of chuckled a little bit. And in my mind, I thought, well, wow, I must have got dizzy and just fell out of the chair. She is blocking literally, I don't want to get too graphic, but a pool of blood there on the porch, not wanting me to see that. They rolled me over, thank goodness, because apparently I had been out somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes, the best we can tell. And had they not rolled me over, of course, aspiration, that's a very big thing.
Yeah.
Would have went all back down in my lungs. Called an ambulance during the time I was out. Within moments, they were there. Firefighters was there. I mean, my gosh, it was like 12 people just there when I opened my eyes. The ambulance driver was like, hey, how you doing? We're going to put you on a gurney. Do you think you're up to that? And I'm like, well, yeah, well, okay. I think I just fell out of the chair. I think this is a bit uncalled for. And he looks at me and he goes, I can't believe you're still talking. And I'm like, well, she didn't slap me that hard, kind of deal. But
well, he could see more than you could at that point.
He could see more than I could at this point. And they got me on the gurney, and he's talking to me the whole time. He's like, how you doing? How you feeling? And I will say he was a little rough with bedside manner, but I appreciate that.
Well, I mean,
I really do.
It's not their job to be nice because they're trying to keep you alive.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, so yeah, boxing gloves off. Let's get real here. And he goes, how you doing? I was like, man, I said, you better give me a barf bag. I said, I'm nauseous. I said, this is not going to end well. And I'm talking literally like this. And he just keeps shaking his head at me. Well, he gives me one of these bags they got a proper term for. I fill that with 72 fluid ounces of blood.
And this is on top of
what is already
whatever you've already
on
lost.
The porch. So anybody that knows anything about human anatomy, you can start doing the math here. There wasn't much blood left in me. They get me to the ambulance. They try to put one of those things down my nostrils to help keep me from throwing up, aspiration, and all this. I could not handle that. Sleep apnea. I got scar tissue up in there.
Yeah,
They've removed the upper soft palate of my mouth. I think I called him a few bad names. I really do. And that hurt more than anything that night.
And leave it to you to be essentially on death's doorstep and then getting mad at this guy because he's trying to help you.
Yeah, it's like, what the? So he loads me up. He's the guy that rides in the back with you, and obviously the driver's up front. And he goes, we're going to strap you in pretty good. He goes, we normally don't speed, but tonight we're going to be doing some speeding, just so you know. How you feel about that? And I'm like, hey, let's get the party started, And he goes, why? How are you even talking to me?
Wow.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And again, I'm not thinking properly. Not that I ever think properly, but it was way off.
I mean, based on what you've just described, you probably didn't have a whole lot of blood flow going where it needed to go.
No. So we fast forward. We end up going to the lake. He tells me most likely will need a blood transfusion. Tells me to stay calm. This is where the gloves come off, the bedside manner. And he says, I'm just going to cut it straight. And I said, please do. What is going on? I don't understand. I don't comprehend what's going on. He said, I've only saw one person that's lost as much blood as you. And quite frankly, they didn't make it. And I'm like, whoa, this is real. This is something bad. So we sped up towards the lake. Lebanon would not see me. They said, blood transfusion. He's lost that much blood. No. Don't bring him here.
Well, at the risk of maybe angering certain individuals.
Yeah.
That's not a hospital I choose to go to if I have an option.
Yes. So we go to the lake.
That's where we go for just about everything.
So we're heading there. We do a little speeding, got the lights on and everything. He's checking in constantly with me. I mean, they're getting IVs in me, trying to get some liquids and fluids and all this. And of course, part of the ambulance deal is they go up and use the radio. Hey, we're 30 minutes out, telling the hospital, hey, we're 15 minutes out. At one point, I overhear a conversation. And, this ambulance driver's like, hey, we're like 15 minutes out, stand by, have everything ready, blah, blah, blah. You hear a response on the other end. And it's kind of muffled. You couldn't understand it. But I hear him say, oh, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. This guy's conscious.
Wow.
He goes, I bet right now he's listening to every word we say. And of course, I'm like, hey, I'm back here. I said, yeah, I'm hearing everything. And he goes, see, I told you. He goes, I don't know how.
So you're a medical marvel at this point to this guy.
I'm a freak of nature.
Well,
apparently.
I mean, I've known you for a while. I would have said that too, but for different reasons.
So they pull me in, finally get to the lake, rush me back. Ironically, don't give me a blood transfusion because with being diabetic and everything else, and as well as I was putting on, I was doing, I guess my body hadn't told my brain that I should be dead.
There was a disconnect somewhere.
They were a little concerned with messing with that because he told me, he goes, I don't know what you're doing, but your whole zenness, your tranquility in that ambulance ride, he goes, your pulse stabilized. You weren't like panicked. And I said, well, I guess I'll go back to my old martial arts days. And I said, I just kind of meditated. And he goes, well, whatever it is, keep doing it. We're not done with you yet. It's like, oh boy. So we fast forward. I spent 3.5 days in the hospital.
Wow.
Emergency surgery. And this all stems from a vein in my esophagus that ruptured, obviously causing the blood.
Yeah.
And people's like, well, what did you drink? What did you eat? Why did it go to your esophagus? Well, I've learned a lot about liver.
Well, before we get any further, there was one detail that you told me when we were texting back and forth and I was checking on you and trying to figure out. I think you said it was less than how many?
The surgeon came in and talked to me there in the ER as they prepped me for my emergency surgery. And again, they're asking me, how you feel, and it's like, I'm lightheaded, I'm weak, I'm dizzy, I'm cold, I was going through chills, but I said, honestly, I don't feel that bad. And he goes, what you just went through, there is less than 7% chance of survival.
Yeah.
And again, these facts, these are sticking with me. I don't care how far out you're out there or disconnected. It's like, I don't understand at this point all that's going on.
Well,
but it's serious.
With your sense of humor in that text exchange, I think you capped it off with, well, I guess I made my death saving throw or whatever.
Yeah, I made my saving throw with the Grim Reaper.
And I think I read that to my wife. And I was like, oh my God, like, you're not going to believe this. So I was telling her what had happened. And I was like, and only he would still have that sense of humor to be like, I guess I made my saving throw.
Yeah, the joke is now I'm either a cat or I either have the 3-strike rule, or I'm a cat with 9 lives. And at this point, I've used 2 of my strikes.
Well, yeah, I was going
to
say.
I'm hoping I'm maybe a cat with 9 lives.
Yeah, if it's a 3-strike thing, you're going to have to be careful.
Yeah, I'm going to be really careful. But they rushed me into surgery. And again, this is due to fatty liver. Now, this is the public service announcement of the program. This is a plague I have learned that is hitting Americans, especially for people 45 to like 55, maybe even 60.
Hey, buddy, hang on.
Oh, yeah. You're the target audience.
And especially the way I've lived life. I've lived my life. I was thinking about this the other day, and this is sad, but it was much like an old farm truck. Okay, bear with me. You have that old farm truck, and when you first get the truck and it's new, you just drive the crap out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then
take it anywhere.
At a certain point, you realize you need this old truck to last, and then you start taking care of it. And I feel like at 48 now, I'm to that point where it's like I got to take care. I've been walking 2 miles a day. I started doing that back in the spring.
Good for you.
And as Eric knows, I've been watching my diet for a couple of years now. I've lost over 100 pounds.
Yep. Very noticeable.
But yeah, I thought of it in terms of like, it's like an old car. Like when it was a new car and it was a hot rod and I drove it
Took
fast.
That thing anywhere, fast and furious.
And now it's like, I can't afford to buy a new one. Or, I mean, I guess in this analogy, you can't get a new one. You got to take care of the one you got.
Yep.
And so, yeah. And again, with the health stuff that happened to me back in September, October timeframe, I mean, I'm trying to be healthier. And then, of course, this happens to you. And then, I'm sure you're going to talk more about the fatty liver thing, but it's just like, yeah, I'm not that far behind you. I certainly don't want to put myself any more at risk than I need to.
Well, you're 48, did you
48.
say?
I just turned 48.
I turned 55 in July.
Yeah.
So you got a little while maybe, but it goes back to fatty liver. And apparently with one of my nieces, actually, 2 of my nieces actually being nurses, RN types, they're helping to educate me too. They're helping to make sure that I eat right and all this. Fatty liver is huge. Seriously, you could probably go check, and 90% of Americans or something like that would have some degree of fatty liver. That goes back to our lifestyle. That's going through the drive-throughs. That's eating cans of soup, cans of food that is all preserved in, you guessed it, salt.
Yeah.
Sodium intake.
Now, did your doctor, I'm assuming there was a lot of questions and a lot of probes and
Still
and
is.
whatever. Did they say like, hey, did you ever notice, like, did you have warning signs that they asked you about?
Well, funny you should ask. And I don't know if I've even shared this with you. This is an ongoing. Every surgery I go in for is, I pretty well have monthly surgeries, 30 to 45 days. I go back in. They check for more of these veins that are bulging in my stomach or esophagus. And it's exploratory. Hey, what do we got? And what can we repair while we're here today?
Yeah.
It kind of, the fatty liver and everything goes back to the weakest point in your body. When your fatty liver gets diagnosed, you're supposed to start reacting on it before it gets to cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah.
Which is just a fancy word saying it's scarred and, beat up. Now, I don't know about Bill, but when I grew up, when you heard that someone had cirrhosis of the liver, you thought they're
alcohol?
Alcoholic drunk.
Yeah.
You're the wino down on the corner holding a bottle and a bag, kind of thing.
To be fair, yeah, that was when you were talking to me about it and stuff, that was it was like, he doesn't drink that much. That's an alcoholic thing.
No, I full disclosure, yeah. We've got a little microbrewery across the street from us, and on the weekends, I might go over and have a couple beers. And sure, if I'm out at a party, I might have a mixed drink all night long, but nowhere near the alcoholic. And on top of that, my doctors even agree the amount of damage to my liver is something that would go back like 10, 15 years before it could get that bad.
Wow.
So again, it goes back to our health, our lifestyles, what we're eating, what we're putting in our bodies. And all of this, again, we're learning as we go, and we're learning stuff constantly. But they put me on a 2,000 milligram a day sodium diet. Well, that's next to nothing. But a human is supposed to have, in perfect health book standards, let me state that, somewhere around 2,500 to 3,500 milligrams of sodium a day. So they cut me back to 2,000. We think, well, that's not that bad. A bean burrito through Taco Bell. I ain't talking nothing with no meat or anything.
Well, and you're talking about Taco Bell. It's not healthy.
Taco Bell. But you're talking close to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I don't know, it's like 850, 900 in one bean burrito. That's all you're allowed to have all day is 2,000.
Well, to be fair, to kind of build on that, talking about my weight loss, I started looking at calories and what's an average person supposed to eat. And a lot of the packaging you'll see is like 2,000 or whatever. And that's just a suggestion. But even for me, like, I'm sure you're looking at what your diet was previously versus now.
Oh, yeah.
When you change your diet in a significant way, there were days I was eating twice what a normal person. And that depended on there were some days that were even worse than that.
Yeah.
So, and a big part of that has just been watching what I eat. And yeah, part of the process that I'm using, it breaks down like your fiber and your sodium and your carbs and all that. And yeah, like that stuff is.
Oh yeah, you start actually looking at it
when you
and reading labels. And I'll tell you what, guys, I hate to go to the grocery store now. You spend more time reading stupid labels.
Yeah.
And you come out with some dirt and some lettuce and maybe some water that you can safely, healthily eat.
And yeah, with my diet the way it is, that's been kind of my experience for a while there. I'd say at least the first 6 months. I spent so much time looking at labels to decide, okay. And for me, again, I haven't been managing the things like sodium and whatnot like you have, but it was just looking at it and going, okay, like what's the most bang for the buck for me?
Right.
It was like I can eat like you said, I can go to Taco Bell and eat a bean burrito.
You got a bank you can withdraw so much out of a day,
And you can't go over or
what do I want to eat today?
And in your case, yours is an even greater. If I overeat one day, it's not going to have that big of an impact. But with the sodium thing, that's
well. And again, I'm diabetic, so I also have to monitor my sugar, and that's a teeter-totter. Because as a diabetic, you're supposed to eat a lot of protein. Well, I got a lot of my protein from we grew up on a farm. I mean, I still get country farm fresh eggs. My dad brings them to me. My niece brings them to me.
The thing that jumped to my head was bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs.
Yeah, I imagine bacon's a no-no.
Oh my God. And the days of me eating biscuits and gravy, they're off the table. That's a country farm fresh egg, no seasoning, just cooked in a pan, 80 milligrams of sodium.
Wow.
I was having 3 to 4 eggs a day with the side of maybe one sausage patty.
Oh, and
2 pieces
is probably
of
ridiculous.
bacon. That would have been like 3,000 milligrams of sodium.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. One meal, and that's got to last you all day. So, yeah. So that's the thing. Well, come to find out, the hospital that we were using, much like many other businesses, had several computer programs. They weren't always communicating one with another.
That goes back to something else you said when we were talking. So, expand on that.
Come to find out, I hurt my back really bad about 6-7 years ago. We were actually setting up at a Comic-Con, and this is one of the things that told me, hey, Eric, you're not getting any younger. You might not be able to travel all over the place and set up, full day setups and tear downs for Comic-Cons anymore. I hurt my back. They went in, they run all kinds of tests where they stick you in the tubes and, all this. It just so happened that one of those tests that they did, focusing on my back, also picked up, of course, my liver.
Yeah.
The doctor wasn't at all addressing my liver. He wasn't there to treat it.
That's not what you were there for.
I couldn't walk. I'm here to find out what I did with my back. But it was so bad of fatty liver that he made a note on the side, thinking, well, surely to goodness this guy knows he's already got this problem and he's diabetic, didn't address any of that because that's not what he's here for today.
Well, or also maybe the next time you go see your GP or whatever, like he doesn't know, but
right.
That comment will be there and somebody
that
say, hey,
comment
while
will
you're
be
here.
there. And we noticed this was flagged. Well, that didn't happen due to some computer programming merges that didn't work out.
Technology is an amazing thing, super useful, and
when it works,
definitely helpful, right?
6 years go by essentially, and I have fatty liver. It does get flagged in some blood work or some tests that I went to my general practitioner, my regular doctor on, and we talked about it. I remember, and they said, well, this. It wasn't to the fact that oh my gosh, it's horrific, but there was a mention of fatty liver at one time. Just watch it, start watching this, start watching that, which I had. But 6 years of having that did damage.
Well, 6 years and not doing anything, not knowing, not having the doctor say, hey, don't do this or that.
Right. It caused sclerosis of the liver. Well, then your liver cannot perform properly. So the pressure starts building up internally, which apparently I have learned, your weakest arteries and veins, some of those are in your stomach and esophagus. So that's where they often rupture. That's what's going on. That's what all these exploratory surgeries are for. They put me under and they go in with a scope and they try to see how many bulging veins and arteries, and they go in and they tie them off. And then that way there's no, evasive cutting or anything. And then eventually that dries out, falls out, and, you get rid of it naturally. And by controlling the sodium content, the hopes are that gives the liver a little bit of a chance to recoup, not have to work as hard. So hopefully that pressure internally goes down. Unfortunately, that has not worked out the way we had planned. I have had I've had 3 surgeries so far. I go in again here in about 2 weeks. And they have found just shy of 30 arteries or veins that they have had to tie off.
Wow.
And not trying to be dramatic, but potentially any of those 28 could have been a repeat of what I had that I have a 7% chance to live from. So it's pretty scary stuff. They go in and do the best they can. They had talked about a full liver transplant. Unfortunately, I do not have insurance. So in my mind, this is the aluminum foil tin hat kind of thing, but it's like, I won't say I'm treated differently, but I don't think I'm treated the same, if that makes sense.
I mean, and I hate to be this guy, like you said, you don't want to be the tinfoil hat conspiracist, but they're not they're not going to make as much money off of you,
Right,
right?
right,
So,
right. This old guy, you know,
and I would
that
I would
old
think the
farm
same.
truck has been driven off the cliff
Yeah.
one too many times. Is it really worth
and
fixing up?
and this guy doesn't have the insurance to fix it, so
yeah, so we're not going to get paid
they're
for it.
going to total you out, man.
But now that being said, I will say the hospital has been very good to work with us. I think for very apparent reasons. You know,
Well, give them kudos. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
kudos.
respect that. Lake Regional.
yeah, Lake
And I've
Regional.
always had a good experience with Lake Regional. I don't think I've ever gone there and felt like I was treated
No.
poorly, because I definitely have had a couple times I've gone and maybe I thought it was an emergency and they didn't.
Right.
And they certainly never made me feel stupid or anything. They're like, you know, your concerns are valid. We'll do this. We'll do that. And when it turned out to not be as severe as I thought. So absolutely, like the Lake Regional Health System, I got a lot of respect for them, and I've never had a bad experience.
Well, I went back to my general practitioner, of course, because anytime you have something like that, you're supposed to follow
Yeah.
up. But I went back several times. I wanted, and I won't say any names, but I wanted to know how the
Yeah.
does this happen?
How did you miss this?
And they were very open and took full responsibility. You know, we didn't have access to this. That computer program doesn't communicate with our computer program. And then our computer program we had was so prehistoric, I honestly think they jumped from like Windows XP to Windows 12,
Well,
you know, kind of thing. And it doesn't always merge good.
let's hope maybe they learn something and they can get those things integrated because of this. Or,
I certainly hope so. And honestly, the only reason I'm bringing this up is I'm sure I'm not the only one. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I'm staying with my doctor. I believe them fully. They were very open, honest, showed me. I won't say as upset as we are, because, I mean, I nearly died, but very upset, very concerned, been very helpful, been working with us, you know, like I said, without insurance and stuff, very well. So there's that. So we had all that happened to me. And, you know, at the best, after these surgeries, I mean, they take my legs out from underneath of me for 2-3 days usually. Sometimes I don't even have a voice for a while.
yeah.
So, you know, getting together to record or even having the mentality to sit down to get notes and research doesn't always flow properly.
Well, and I can say it wasn't all doom and gloom. That was certainly a harrowing experience, I'm sure. And to hear you talk about it, I mean, I'm your friend, and you know, I was very concerned for you when you would tell me these things. You were very nonchalant. Again, like a lot of jokey texts back and forth, and then it would just be like, "Hey, man, I might need a whole liver transplant," you know?
Yeah.
And it was like the last text ended with a joke, and then that's the next text, and it was just up and down. I was like, "Man, this is crazy." And then again, in this whole time span, there were things that kept us busy. And as we talked before we started recording, I told Eric, I'm very antisocial. I'm not super like, there's been a lot of social things where I've made up a lot of excuses to get out of. I never thought of almost dying to get out of something. Well, maybe I have, but I never actually carried
through with it.
But
I don't advise it.
My son got married there in beginning
Some
of
good
June.
news. Yay.
And you know, Eric's wife said he was even trying to figure out how he was going to arrive and be a part of that, because he was invited.
Yeah. I wanted to be there. I mean, we were looking at the map, you know, how long is it going to take us to drive, you know, and all this.
And this is a guy who's, you know, was essentially on death's door not that long before that. So, and of course we had all the wedding stuff for weeks before the wedding. Every weekend we had things going on. One little bit of humor, if you can take anything out of this, at the reception, we had another friend there. His name was Eric. And when my son introduced his newlywed wife to Eric, she's like, "Oh, I love your podcast." And he's like, "Okay, that's the wrong Eric.
That's the different Eric."
And he had like that deer in the headlights moment, like, "What are you talking about?" You know? And so she was.
How many Erics do you have?
She's slightly embarrassed, but we're very happy to have her as part of our family. She's a sweetheart. And you know, it's my son's happy. I'm happy for him. It was an emotional day. It was a draining weekend, I will say that. If you know me, you know that in most situations I don't show a lot of emotion, but in emotional moments, I almost go overboard.
Your big teddy bear.
We went, it was Friday night, and they did the rehearsal. and the guy who presided over the ceremony, which was her grandfather.
Well, that's
Even
cool.
just having him go through the ceremony, I got teary eyed. As soon as we saw her come up the aisle Saturday, I lost it. And I was just like a blubbering mess. And it's
Yep.
funny because there's some pictures and you can see me in the background. My sister, she started thinking about how happy my mom would have been to see something like this. Of course, my mom passed away years ago, and she lost it. And so, of course, hearing her weeping behind me, and then there's my son.
That didn't help. That didn't help.
I'm all weepy, and then of course, they did the giving away of the bride. Who
Mhm.
gives away this bride?
Mhm.
And then they asked for like the blessing of the parents. Do you guys bless this? I could barely say, we do. It was something. And then at the reception line, like the line where everybody meets, and they had the family there.
Yes.
I'm like trying to like wipe my nose with a tissue as people are coming up and like trying to shake my hand, and it's just like
Probably a few hugs too.
and hugs, and there were
Bill's
literally
not a huggy person.
there
I'll
were
tell you.
people that were 100% like I think would have gone for a handshake if they hadn't seen me just wipe my nose. But again, it was a fantastic weekend. Very, very happy to have.
It's life altering in its own way.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
happy
it
to have her
really
as part
is.
of the family. But it was a very draining weekend for someone like me who's not super social, and I'm meeting all these people for the first time, and we've got all of our family there and stuff like that. Again, not all gloom and doom. There was some good things that happened.
Sure.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing, of course, is Eric almost losing my co-host here, and that was, there was lots of concern, and there's a part of me that feels bad for not reaching out a little more often, but I'm super awkward when it comes to knowing how to approach things like that. And it's not the first time it's happened. We've had other friends who've had tragedies,
Right.
and it's like, do I ask how he's doing? Do I not ask how? And it's just.
I'll be honest. I have had people reach out to me that honestly, I'll use the word kind of shock me, because maybe I hadn't seen or talked to them in 5, 6, 7 or more years.
Yeah.
I had people reach out to me through Nightmares on the Lost Highway, through some of my other endeavors, and I was humbled. It was a very humbling experience. It also left me with some disabilities, that is even more humbling for someone like me. I would, like, for example, I wasn't allowed to mow the grass anymore because that's too much strenuous activity, especially in the early stages. That's tough. But I had a lot of support, my family and friends, and Bill did reach out to me several times. I appreciate, that. I appreciate all the ones that reached out. And Bill alluded to it. I've had a couple people that are like, well, I have a weird sense of humor. I mean, let's just say that. But some people who don't know me as well or haven't known me, say, in the past 10 years, they're like, we couldn't tell if this was like a joke or if it's real, kind of thing.
It's that gallows humor, if you will. And
That's just me.
And it's I've known you for a while now. I know that your sense of humor can veer towards the dark. Mine certainly does.
It gets me in trouble sometimes.
But even for me, it was like, again, in one sentence, like we'd be texting back and forth, and you'd be like, hey, there's only like a, less than 7% chance that I would have survived that.
Woohoo! I made
guess
it to the
made
team.
my saving throw.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're part of an elite group there, buddy. Like,
there's a point in life that I think I'm at that it's like, you just kind of got to laugh at life and go on. I don't want to be that depressed, doom and gloom person. And trust me, it's all too easy to get there. And I've been battling those demons a little bit myself. Like I said, this is a kind of a humbling experience, but, yeah, that's just me. I'm weird. So.
Well, far be it from me. I may have told this story on the podcast before. My stepfather passed away when I was 21 years old, almost 21. It was right before my 21st birthday. And, we had been mourning, it had been rough on us, and we're, figuring out how to get past that. And my friend's mom said, hey, invite him over and we'll make dinner and he can just get away from all this and just give him a moment to
a breather,
to have a break.
Yeah.
And so I went over and she made, my favorite meal that she makes. And we had dinner and we were talking later on. And I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what prompted it. But my friend says, are you serious? And how do you respond? well, I'm serious as a heart attack. That's what killed my stepdad.
Yeah.
And he looked at me with shock in his
Timing
eyes.
a bit too soon.
And I was just like, and I should know how serious that can be. Like, and he's just like, dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
sorry, man. It's just, it's that sense of humor. I mean, it's dark, but
You
what
got to
are you
roll
gonna
with
do?
the punches, and everybody handles it differently. you know?
I tend to joke. I tend to make a joke of things, no matter how serious they may be.
And that's why Bill and I are friends.
It does help.
It does.
Because, when someone makes an off-color joke, trust me, I have definitely made an off-color joke and had people react,
What?
I can't believe you'd say that. I was like, no, it's just,
Then you don't know me very well.
yeah.
But there are times, I'm sure you're the same way. It's like, did that actually come out of my mouth? I know I was thinking it, but did I actually say that? Oh my gosh, yes, I did.
Yeah, that makes it hard to work in a corporate environment. Like
Yeah.
any kind of serious professional, like you got to think like, okay, should I no, I'm not going to say that. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that.
And sarcasm comes so naturally to me, especially.
Well, that's, I went through a phase where my response to bad news would always just be to say, well, that's awesome. And I remember one day at work when we were both at Emerson, somebody came up to me and it was not good news. It was bad news, whatever it was, a production issue, quality issue, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, awesome. And this person just looked at me, no, this isn't awesome.
No, this is bad. This is bad, Bill.
So, sarcasm is lost on some people, and that's fine. But if you're listening to this, you've been listening to this podcast, there's 5 years of this out there. You by now ought
Maybe
to know,
not consistently, but
not
there's 5
consistently.
years out there.
Yeah, because if you ask ChatGPT, we're a bi-weekly podcast anyway. But you would know that is our sense of humor. That has helped fuel this podcast.
Yeah.
To make it interesting, because we've talked about some really dark content, but been able to at least crack a joke here and there about some of it.
Yeah.
Whether it was
Absolutely.
appropriate or not.
That's
a
yet
different
to
thing.
be decided.
So
We'll let our listeners decide. But you brought up a thing. We both still got some things kind of going on in the future. I think Bill and I were talking a little bit to play it more on the safe side. I think we may go to maybe a bi-weekly.
yeah, I had thought about this, especially in light of, that you're still going to have to go in and you said you don't have a voice sometimes after your surgery. And we're both busy, to say the least. I mean, if you don't even count the health stuff that you have to go through, I work a full-time job.
Bill works a full-time job, drives back and forth
I
many
drive-
miles a day.
Yeah, I spend about 2 hours in the car commuting. So, by the time I get off work, and then my weight loss journey, if I walk 2 miles, and that's time out of my day. And then
Family time, all too important.
yeah, and I was working on a class that I just finished this weekend, actually. So that was something else that was taking away some of my time. And who knows, there may be stuff that comes beyond that. And to be fair, I'm looking at trying to adopt an artistic hobby to help me with my something to take my mind off of the stresses that I'm dealing with in my day-to-day life.
A coping mechanism.
Also, and this is going to be the first time Eric's heard of this, I have submitted a work of fiction for publication.
Awesome. I knew you talked about
It's a short
it.
story based on Ozark. Based on the Ozarks. It's a collection. If it happens, it's a collection of short stories based on Ozark folklore and horror and things like that. Scary stories. So I took an idea that we've touched on here on the podcast, actually, and sort of expanded it out and submitted it.
That's
and
great.
hopefully with the power of positivity, I keep telling myself I'm going to be a published author.
There you go.
And if that goes well, then I would like to maybe see if that's a road I can pursue in my old age. So that may be another thing that I have time. But mainly, my main thought was knowing that Eric would have to have regular medical procedures.
Sounds like most likely for the rest of this year at least.
Yeah, to kind of help work around that. I think we're going to switch to bi-weekly. We'll release an episode every other week. And then also that's still, that'll be less time that we have to spend researching between episodes. And so maybe, hopefully I would think that the quality of the episodes may even improve. We're going to record fewer episodes at a time. We'll release them a little slower. And hopefully, we can spend more time working on the episodes when it comes time to release one. But I think for the time being, just to be on the safe side, to commit to this bi-weekly schedule, because I don't think at this point it's feasible to commit to a weekly schedule.
It's hard to juggle when you don't know how many balls you're going to be juggling.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
So at this point, yeah, like Eric said, I think we're going to switch to bi-weekly for a while. And that may not be permanent. We may be able to get back to a weekly thing I said once life returns to normal, and Eric's family gave me some weird looks because who knows what
What's
normal is.
normal
And
these
who knows
days?
what normal may become
Yeah.
for Eric, especially. So, we just wanted to make sure that we announce that it's going to be a bi-weekly thing. So if we skip a week, don't think that we've disappeared. I know we've taken gaps and maybe we haven't always explained it, but we're going to do bi-weekly episodes for a while.
As they say, we're back,
We're
at
back.
least to some degree.
We're back. We're not back at full strength, but then again, one of us nearly died. And so you have to cut us some slack. I think that deserves a little bit of a pass. So I think we've talked quite a while about the hows and the whys and the whatnots.
Let's talk about some of the weird, creepy stuff that people actually listen to this podcast for, of things maybe we missed.
In an ordinary episode, we would call this the headlines.
The headlines. What do you got, Bill?
You know me, Eric. I love the Alien franchise. We've probably talked about that. I've
Oh,
seen all of them.
yes.
The first 3 are classics.
Yes.
After that, I like them all. It's like your kids, right? You love them all, but
yeah,
1 or 2 you might
there's
like
a few extra special ones in there.
So I found this article. It really jumped out at me when I first saw it a couple months. About a month ago, actually. This one, but again, I first saw this and it immediately, it came from a Reddit post which simply said, "New form of life discovered in black goo."
Ooh.
If you've seen any of the recent Alien movies,
Oh,
black
yeah.
goo, that's a big part of that.
Yeah.
From IFL Science, dated July 7th, 2025, by James Felton. Ship Goo 001, mystery of entirely new life form discovered coating a Great Lakes ship. Entirely new life form. Previously unknown.
That's some clickbait stuff right there.
They discovered it while they were doing maintenance on the Blue Heron research vessel, which I believe the Blue Heron is the largest U.S. academic vessel in the Great Lakes. So this is a pretty big ship. But they found a strange black goo oozing from the rudder when they took it into dry dock. And so they investigated it. This was in Cleveland, but they sent it to the University of Minnesota in Duluth. And they were asked, they said, "Hey, what is this? Like, we don't understand what this is. It clearly wasn't regular engine oil or grease or anything." So the researchers investigated, and much to their surprise, the goo contained life.
Ooh.
Microbes that thrived in a semi-warm, oxygenless environment. Quote, "The biggest surprise was that the ship goo had life in it at all," biologist and lead researcher Cody Sheik explained in a statement. "We thought we'd find nothing, but surprisingly, we found DNA. And it wasn't too destroyed, nor was the biomass too low." So they tested it. They did sequencing on the DNA and compared it to all the global databases that have that kind of
And
information.
this is at the Great Lakes, not
The Great
ocean or
Lakes.
the sea,
Great
the
Lakes.
Great Lakes.
And they could not match the DNA to any known living organism.
Oh, I love that.
So they named it ShipGoo 001.
Ship. Hi, my name's Shipgoo 001.
It seems to thrive in an environment with no oxygen, which, life on Earth pretty much thrives on oxygen for the most part. And it's created in this unique ecological niche created by the ship's grease. Now it's new, but it is similar to microbes that they've discovered in petroleum wells and tar pits around the world. And they do believe it to be a single-celled organism, so it's not complex life. And if you drink it, it probably won't turn you into some weird alien human hybrid.
Oh, man, there goes that.
I probably wouldn't drink it anyway,
Yeah.
just to be safe. But I thought that when I first saw that in the black goo, I was just like, oh, that's like alien.
Alien.
And then, it turned out to be interesting, but not quite alien.
Sure. That's why they call it clickbait, sometimes. Well, I've got a headline. I'll be honest. Honestly, if you guys are listening to us and you're interested in stuff, I'm sure you've heard about it, but this I had to bring up. Paranormal researcher Dan Riviera died suddenly after being involved with the elusive Annabelle doll. And, of course, that's the Ed and Lorraine Warren collection.
Can I say,
You may.
I had that. I started doing the story, and then I thought, you know what? One, I could almost be tied into an episode.
Oh, yeah.
But 2, I was like, I guarantee you Eric is going to do
You
this
know
one.
me well, friends. You know me well. Well, I got this. There's all kinds of information, but I chose the headline out of July 2025, The Evening Sun. The visit of a doll immersed in paranormal legend in Gettysburg ended in tragedy with one sudden passing of one of the national tour lead organizers. Now, according to the New England Society of Psychic Research and the organization that's now behind this whole tour, and that tour is to take bits and pieces, including the Annabelle doll, from Ed and Lorraine Warren's collection around the United States for those who may not be able to make it up to New England to attend that or to view that. Dan Riviera, 54 years old, was the lead investigator for New England Society of Paranormal Research. Also a U.S. Army veteran, passed away unexpectedly on Sunday, July 13th, 2025. Ironically, that's my birthday. I thought that was kind of weird, too, July 13th. Now, this was during a visit to Gettysburg, where the society made this announcement on that following Monday evening. Riviera was among the leading faces of this viral, what was called the Devils on the Run tour, in which Riviera and other members of the New England Society for Psychic Research had brought the alleged haunted doll Annabelle across the country to various different sites, kind of on tour. Now, Adams County Dispatch Scanner archives showed that firefighters and medical personnel had been called to the hotel there in Gettysburg on or about 8 p.m. Sunday evening. A report of CPR in progress on a male patient matching Riviera's age. Adams County Coroner Francis Dutrow, I believe is the way you pronounce it, whose office was conducting a death investigation, confirmed to the Evening Sun that Tuesday afternoon, Riviera's cause of death remained pending the results of a final autopsy. Now, final results on that autopsy, according to the office, could take still several months. I have not heard an update, tried to find it at least as of today. Not everything is being released yet. Now, prior to leading the group into the room to view this doll the previous day, Riviera was full of charisma. He joked with visitors about the frame of the tour and how it emphasized his focus on making a positive experience for the visitor. Riviera, who was mentored literally by famous paranormal investigator Lorraine Warren, told those gathered at the event in the room about the steps that he had taken to protect them from the doll, including a special case housing the doll that Riviera had built himself.
So he built that case?
He built the case.
Neat.
I mean, you might as well say kind of grew up paranormal-wise investigating with Lorraine Warren.
Well, yeah, if you listen to this podcast, you've probably doubtless seen pictures of Annabelle in her case. So.
Yes. And, of course, that's the Raggedy Ann version,
Yeah,
not the
weird,
Hollywood version.
Weird one in the movies.
Now, that particular wooden case that Riviera built, he told the group that he built with 3 crosses representing the Holy Trinity, and it is stained in a finish that contained holy water.
Wow.
So, I mean, kind of pulled all the plugs and went all out here. Now, later in the tour, Riviera added that Annabelle had not caused the previous 911 outage that sent wireless emergency alerts blaring across cell phones in Pennsylvania, including inside the first showing of the doll the day prior, the grand opening, if you will.
There's a lot of,
that's weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff around that doll, man.
And I mean, let's be honest, paranormal investigation, does anybody really know what we're looking for or how to find it? How do you say that this is not related?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of his late mentor, Riviera shared with the audience that her guidance for protecting oneself from evil spirits entailed almost a form of meditation that he often would put himself into. I'm assuming like at night, maybe as a kind of a cleansing ritual. You know, we've done some ghost hauntings and, you know, you thank the spirits and please don't attach to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to take you home or anything, you know, but appreciate, you know. But what Lorraine would say to protect yourself, said Riviera, is to close your eyes and envision yourself in a halo of white light. And unfortunately, it maybe didn't work this time with Riviera.
Well, we'll follow up on that one a little bit. I had an article from August 2nd that said Matt Rife, comedian.
Oh my gosh, Bill, this was my next headline.
Sorry.
No, we're on the same wavelength. We may not be together recording for months, but
he bought Ed and Lorraine's occult museum that houses the Annabelle doll.
Yes.
That's in the Conjuring franchise. And he's going to open it up for public tours and overnight stays. Rife, of course, comedian known for his stand-up specials, apparently avid paranormal, supernatural, enthusiast.
I love Matt Rife. I really do.
He took to social media to announce that he and ghost hunter Elton Castee bought the paranormal investigators' house, and they are now the legal guardians of their collection of supposedly haunted objects.
Which are like 750 plus.
There's a lot of stuff
items.
there, yeah.
There's a lot.
And like you said, that includes the Annabelle doll and other artifacts from the Warren cases, which, of course, inspired the Conjuring franchise, in which Patrick Wilson, love Patrick Wilson, stars as Ed Warren and Vera Farmiga as Lorraine. The Occult Museum was once open to the public, but it closed in 2019 due to zoning issues. And it was run by Lorraine after Ed's death, and then she passed in 2019 at the age of 92. Rife explained what he intends to do with the house now. Quote, "We plan to open the house for overnight stays and museum tours so you yourself can experience and learn all the haunted history surrounding this amazing place."
Now, I had this as my headline too. One of the things that stuck out, well, first off, for those of you who may not be familiar with comedian Matt Rife, he's not for everybody.
I'm not a huge fan. I don't really care for him.
That's cool. He is definitely a black sheep. He struggled really to find a platform that would even allow him to do his comedy because he covers some very complex topics in the world we live in. And, he has said time and time again, his intentions are not to create hostile environments or labeling, but he says, if we can't laugh at ourselves, then why are we here? What are we doing? And nothing is considered really taboo to him. I'll just kind of leave it at that. But you gotta question the man's sanity. That was in August. Riviera dies in July, the month before, possibly, allegedly connected to Annabelle.
Yeah, I even saw something about like the doll was missing. It wasn't in the room it was supposed to be in when they found his body.
Seemed like I saw something like that. Yeah, somebody
and I
had
don't know how
moved
true
it
that
or
is,
whatever. Yeah. But I mean, here you are, Matt Rife. You come out of nowhere. You're black sheep. A lot of people won't carry you. You're a comedian. You're a very successful comedian. I dare say probably one of the top 5 comedians, whether you like him or not, in this day and age. What do? You just get up that morning and you find out, hey, this doll possibly killed this guy. I think I'll go buy it. And the whole entire haunted museum on top of it.
This whole, and I mean, again, this whole museum of artifacts collected by 2 of, I mean, at times controversial, but
true.
Ed was the only officially recognized demonologist outside the Catholic Church, as far as I'm aware.
I would dare say the godfather and grandmother of paranormal research in America.
Yeah, and I mean, if you believe their stories, they dealt with some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you've seen any of the Conjuring universe of movies, I think it's The Conjuring, the Nun, is that part of it?
Yes. Like that goes back.
The Annabelle series. I've been seeing the trailers for The Last Rites here lately.
Yep.
And again, I like Patrick Wilson. He's kind of a character actor. You don't see him in a lot of stuff, but I think I saw him in The Watchmen was the first time I remember like watching him in a movie and going, I really like that guy.
Yeah.
And as he's really good as Ed Warren. But yeah, it's man, that's like buying a building full of explosives and not knowing which one is going to go off.
Yeah. I mean, I got a question, but again, that's Matt Rife. He definitely pushes envelopes, let's say.
Hey, more power to him. I mean, hey, to be fair, hypothetical, if somebody had come to us and been like, hey, we'll sell it to you. We would have, I would have had to been like, okay, how do I get this money?
And I mean, I will say again, if you're listening to this podcast, you must have an interest in it, kind of like we do. At least it's going to be open again somehow, some way. I mean, that's Matt Rife's, as you said, that's his intention, is to open this back up as a museum. Apparently they had shut it down to zoning. I can only imagine. I can imagine some fictitious stuff. We're not allowing haunted museums to be opened in your area. You're not zoned properly.
Imagine an overnight stay.
Oh,
that would man.
Oh, yeah.
Every bump in the night. I mean, literally, you're like, okay, which object was responsible?
I kind of have flashbacks to Ghostbusters. Where the real jerk guy from New York City comes in and shuts them down.
Peck.
Peck. You're not zoned for this, and they shut it down. I think it's Ghostbusters 2, actually, and all the ghosts come out and everything. It's like, wow, Matt.
Actually, no, that was the first Ghostbusters.
That was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, I hope he knows what he's doing. Apparently, he's done well for himself.
Hopefully, he takes it seriously.
Yeah.
This isn't a joking matter.
I don't want to see him with the Annabelle doll up on stage doing comedy skits, like a Muppet doll or something. So,
and again, Annabelle is just probably the most famous artifact, but there are things.
750
there are
plus
things
other
from
items.
all over.
Any one of them could kill you, but let's go for the Grand Marshal Queen of them all.
Yeah. So in conclusion, I said we were going to talk about the scariest thing of all, which is real life and the awful things and the horrible things that can happen.
Amen.
Eric already got one near-death episode. We'll give him a second one here.
Woohoo!
We're
I got
happy,
2 badges.
We're happy that this wasn't more tragic. I guess we're happy that you could keep in spirits about the whole situation. You amazed the EMTs, so that's an achievement few people can do. The last EMT I dealt with was not impressed with me at all. But yeah, it's been a rough few months.
It has been.
And even with the good things that happen, like you said, my son got married. I mean, there was a lot of busy weekends leading up to that, and
my son said the other night, he goes, 2025. He goes, on one hand, it seems like it's flown by. I mean, here we are already in August.
No kidding.
But in other ways, it's like, oh my gosh, it's been a living hell.
2025. I mean, really, at this point, it feels like we should be in 2030 already. As much as has happened, and
it's like, how can you have 2025 seem like it went so fast, but yet it's drudged on so long?
Yeah,
how can you have both?
Yeah, I can't believe it's already August. But again, so much has happened this year already, and it just, I don't know. It is very hard to keep a smile on your face and to soldier through. And I admire Eric for dealing with what he's dealt with and still being able to do that. Because, I'm not going to sit here and throw myself a pity party or anything, but it's been a rough few months, even with
for both of us,
without
for all of us
dealing with the stuff that he dealt with.
I've got one more little quick short blurb, not to beat a dead Eric to death, but there's another one, guys. Sorry. I'll be here all day. When I went in for my second surgery, I was talking to the nurses back there as they're, getting me ready. And I think it was the anesthesiologist come in and said, well, the worst word you ever want to hear is like, so what brings you in today? And you're like, hold on. Whoa. I hope you knew this, but we started joking a little bit. And I said, yeah, I kind of told him the nutshell version and all this. The nurses in the room were like, oh my gosh, it's him. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you have been the talk of the nurses' cafeteria for like the past month. Do you realize we had to have a second group come in because there were so many, ties that we needed to do in your esophagus? And it's like, no, I'm just learning this now. It's like, yeah, we had to have 2 machines and 2 teams of 4 nurses because there was too many for one to do. We didn't plan on that many. And you have defied like medical journals and stuff. So you're like, you're the talk. And it's like, well, I would sell you an autograph if you'll help take off the bill off the hospital. So, kind of joking along.
You really hope your minor celebrity is going to come from podcasting, not from being a medical marvel.
Yeah, near-death experiences. Come on, people. So. Well, that's all I got.
We're back. We're limping along. You'll get an episode here and there every other week is what we're going to promise you right now.
Appreciate all your patience and understanding and your loyalty of reaching out and asking, hey, guys, what the heck's up? Where'd you go?
We value each and every one of you, and I tried to answer some questions here and there. And yeah, I was, I mean, in this day and age and when everything going on, you don't think anybody's going to care about this little thing that we do. But yeah, we got questions here and there, like, what's going on? You guys coming back?
Makes you feel good. It does.
I mean, I guess if we entertain one person, that's something.
That's something. That's all we got. We hope that you've enjoyed yet another strangely odd episode of Nightmares on the Lost Highway. Kids, let's be careful out there.
I want to take a time to thank the people that helped bring this all together. Alex Tudor, you can almost call him our producer at this point. Sarah Tudor, who also helps with some of the technical stuff. I want to take a moment to extend thanks to Eric for letting us use his space to record in, kind of our makeshift studio.
I, in turn, would like to thank Bill for, one, putting up with me and using this camaraderie to do something we both very much love and enjoy doing, and thank Bill's family for allowing him to spend all the time to work and clean up our recordings and present them in what you hear in the final terms, the final edition, if you will.
And I'd like to thank all of you for continuing to listen. I know we've got some loyal followers out there. We do this as a labor of love, but we're happy that there are people that enjoy it hopefully as much as we do.
Thank you very much.